Hi everyone, the vacation is over, so I can hang up my summer hat and show you the Bogist M5 Pro Transpi that's in the background. The past year was very rich in scooter tests for me. I could showcase many cool, very good and very powerful scooters to you. But the Bogist M5 Pro-S is a completely different structure, but I think you can see that yourselves. This scooter wasn't made for young people. It's not for showing off, not for jumping off sidewalks or over hills. This was made for going to the store, and in my opinion, it's not an exciting topic at all. But there is an audience for whom this device will be the right means of transportation. This video is for them, and of course for you as well, if you feel that you would like to use it. Let's get started. As usual, I'll begin with the assembly, because this scooter also needs to be put together, although it's not too complicated. Because you just need to attach the seat, attach the handlebars, and this rear, you need to screw on a box or grid, a small crate or basket above the rear mudguard. True, the latter won't be an easy task because the screws are in a really silly place, but once that's done, you won't have to remove them again and there won't be any problems. Some setup is needed for the assembly. For example, with this scooter, I had to adjust the brakes myself. The rear work cylinders were also set up incorrectly, so the brad touched the brake disc. Had to adjust this too, but these are not really big problems. However, as I usually say, this is a Chinese scooter, so some initial setup is definitely required. Make sure to check the screws once you're done. If it's not tightened, loosen it up a bit. Then apply some thread locking paste on the screws if there's no thread locking paste on them. At the pivot points, if there's no grease, just apply a bit, so you still need to do the usual maintenance with this scooter too. But once this is done and set up correctly, there won't be too many tasks with it at most. Sometimes you need to change the brake pads, but that's about it. It has a 500 watt motor working with a 48 volt system, and you get a 13 amp hour battery. A battery too. According to the manufacturer, this battery provides a range of 35 kilometers when fully charged, with one charge of course. The motor's output makes it suitable for reaching a top speed of 48 kilometers per hour, and we can overcome 20-degree incline, and these are obviously factory data. You should always take them with a grain of salt because we measure them on a test bench, typically with most of us weighing around 60 to 65 kilograms. Doesn't meet these standards, partly because we use scooters in real conditions, not just for testing. Both discs are in a room. We've got brakes on both, and naturally both are disc brakes, both are mechanical discs. We have suspension damping, which is really good because we have it in the front and the back. In fact, the one at the back can be considered quite good. Dual-sided springs. With the shock absorption, this is a very good solution. As this scooter, as I said, it's not really made for young people, and it's not really made for showing off, and it's more for older people who can use it to visit friends, to go shopping. And here comes a very important question, because we should determine what kind of device this is anyway. Scooter or not. We can be sure of one thing. You'll need to get mandatory insurance for it because of its top speed and motor power. However, we don't know yet that is this a scooter or a moped or what really, because as far as I know, the device partially defines a scooter as a two-wheeled vehicle, which it is not. One person can ride it, and you can ride it standing up. With the Bogist M5 Pro-S, we can't travel standing up, no matter how hard we try. Because the government is extremely low, and this low handlebar isn't adjustable. It simply isn't feasible to ride standing up, because you have to lean forward a lot to reach the handlebar, and it's brand new. So, on this device, you can only travel while sitting. The manufacturer even added a very comfortable seat that has adjustable height. But we can't adjust it too high either, because then we'd still have to lean forward a lot to reach the handlebars. So we can travel in a relatively comfortable seated position. But if we sit on it, legally speaking, it's technically not considered a scooter since it's made from paper, but rather an auxiliary motor bicycle because it's controlled with a throttle and has a 500-watt motor on it. So in this form, it's not legally allowed on bike lanes, otherwise it's missing. And no scooter is legally allowed on a bike path. But let's put that aside. So it's actually more like a moped because considering the target audience and the usage area rather, I feel it's more like a modern day scooter, an electric moped that you can just hop on and ride off into the sunset. Or you can go on Sunday, for example, to church. And since we're mentioning church, you might already guess that this scooter isn't made for the youngest generation, but rather for older people. For those who already find it difficult to go to the store for shopping, even if just for you have to walk 2 kilometers. For them, this device will be a great choice, because once it's properly set up, well put together, greased, etc., then they get a maintenance-free means of transportation with nothing else to worry about, like plugging it into the socket to charge it. And then you can use it. The usage. Naturally, during the test, I had to ride it a bit to try it out. They can give their opinion on it. If I have to say it in one sentence, I would say that it's very comfortable to use the Bogist scooter, because it has excellent shock absorption, and the seat is relatively comfortable too. As I mentioned, there is shock absorption at the front and back. The only problem I noticed was that with the factory setting, the rear shock absorption wasn't suited to my weight. Now about 100 kilos, a bit soft. This meant that on a slightly bumpy road, the rear fender sometimes touched the wheel. If I hit a bigger pothole, it didn't. It got closer to the wheel, so you definitely need to adjust the rear shock absorber. It isn't really that complicated. There's a big screw on top of the spring. You need to tighten it a bit with a tool, make the spring tighter so it won't compress as much, and it won't touch the mudguard either at the wheel. Or if you really have to, you can at least remove the mudguard otherwise. But the point is, these are not big issues. They are solvable problems, and you can still use it very well. The machine. Naturally, I couldn't reach a top speed of 48 kilometers per hour with it. For me, it's more like it was around 38 to 40, depending on the road conditions. With a lower weight, of course, you'll be able to go somewhat faster, but in my opinion, 48 will still be hard to reach, even with a body weight of 65 kilograms. At most you use it on the test bench, but I don't think you'll even do that. There are also problems with the range. This 13R battery with the 500W motor is quite limiting. So let's just say it can't go 35 kilometers on one charge. With my weight, it's more like 20 to 25 kilometers. I would dare say 21 kilometers. I can't see an exact figure because there is no voltage display on the dashboard, and the charge indicator only has 4 little lights. So it's hard to draw a conclusion from that. So it's good to know that you can prepare, for instance, with a lower body weight. At around 65 to 70 kilos, I think it's possible to get 24 kilometers, even more for a larger body type. Count on 20 kilometers, that's safe, and then you won't be stuck on the side of the road. Because with this device, rolling home when it's depleted is pretty difficult, so that's about it. Who would I recommend this scooter to? I more imagine the older generation sitting on it, but of course, even teenagers enjoy going to school, or for younger ones to run to the store when they feel like it. Not for urban use, more suitable for rural village use. But obviously for everyone, your place of residence would determine whether it's worth starting with such a device there. In the city, in a bigger city, at least with more traffic, I wouldn't recommend riding between cars, but I've seen such scooters here in Egerseg, properly on the road, even among cars. Just an old man with a hoe coming back from the vineyard. So for such purposes, I think it's absolutely suitable in the village. It's definitely suitable for usage, like putting it in the neighboring village, going to the store, etc. So I can mostly imagine using this scooter for that kind of purpose. If you need it, then I dare suggest you buy it, even more so because the price isn't too high. With a coupon, you can get it for around 150 to 160,000 forints, and for that money, if you assemble it well, as I mentioned, you get a deal. Maintenance free for a lifetime, means of transportation, eternity, understand it naturally like this, for such short distances, not too frequently used, but you see, this isn't a gasoline device. Here it won't. The carburetor would clog, the fuel doesn't run out inside, no need to add oil, etc., etc., etc. I can now find out. Maintenance free. It does not. So this video is roughly, that's it. I think I've said everything that could be said. I'll be back soon with another test, another video, and that will also be about a scooter. And that's it. Well, it's a bit more exciting because of this. Until then, take care, look after yourselves, and if you're on holiday, enjoy the remaining weeks of summer. Hey there, Art. Itt a